Welcome everybody, this is Uhfgood, and today we are going back to do some more Blender 3D Noob to Pro, which will hopefully we'll get to started on actually working on meshes and stuff. And I'm going to try to keep it shorter, so I'm going to try to aim for 10 minutes, and hopefully it'll end up being 12 minutes, and I'll be right on time, but we'll see. So let's get started. And here we go. Okay, meshes in edit mode. Mesh is one of the most important frequently used object types in Blender. While there are other types of objects that can be used to model parts of a model or scene, text, NURBS, patches, etc., they often get converted to meshes at some point anyway, because of the object type that offers the greatest amount of detailed control. It is the object type that offers the greatest amount of detailed control. As it happens, Blender offers more functions both built-in and available as add-ons for dealing with meshes than for any other object type. Edit mode is the mode in which you make changes to the internals of the active object. Not every object has an edit mode, e.g. cameras, and the details that you can do in edit mode vary between object types where it is available. This module specifically covers edit mode for the meshed objects, and I don't know if we'll get through this quote-unquote module. Well, the next module is normals and shadings, but hopefully we will get at least part way through this anyways. Okay, what is a mesh? Mesh is made up of one or more vertices. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and resize the font, the web page. There we go. I don't know, my eyes today they're not doing too good, and I'd rather put on my glasses because I look drunk or something, or sleepy, or kind of weird. So at least the glare will mask my eyes a little bit. A mesh is made up of one or more vertices. Each vertex is just a point in space. A pair of vertices can be joined by a straight line called an edge, and a complete loop of edges can be filled to form a face. It is the faces that make up the visible surface of the object. The edges and vertices are essentially geometrical scaffolding necessary to hold the object together. A face must have 3 or more sides, edges. Prior to version 2.63, only 3 of 4 sides were allowed, so faces had to be triangles or quadrilaterals, usually abbreviated quads respectively. Starting with version 2.63, the introduction of the B-mesh architecture, that restriction has been lifted. You can have faces with 5 or more sides, but you'll usually find things work best if all faces as far as possible are quads, particularly when constructing a model for animation purposes. Blender's Object Mode Add menu, Shift-A, contains a mesh submenu with a collection of pre-made mesh objects. Think of these as starting points. They make building your own objects easier by enabling you to modify an object that is an approximation of the form you want, instead of having to construct a mesh entirely from scratch. Okay. Introduction, edit mode. Start a new model, hide the manipulator if it is visible, control space. You should be in object mode. Select the default cube, which we know is left mouse button 2.8. Sure it's selected. You can switch modes using the tab menu as you previously learned. However, because switching between object mode and edit mode is such a frequent operation, it has a keyboard shortcut tab. Do this now and you should see the appearance of the cube change as shown on the right. The mode menu should also update. Press tab again, you should be back in object mode. Press tab once more before continuing to ensure that you're in edit mode. Note the following features of the cube and how they relate to the description of the mesh of edge. The dots at the corners are the vertices, the lines adjoining them are the edges, the filled areas bordered by the lines are the faces. So, what do? We actually go into Blender, make sure it's selected. See, you can left click to select, then we go to tab, which goes into edit mode, and you can see these little, zoom in here, you can see these orange line, the bright orange lines are your edges, and these darker orange dots are your vertices or vertexes. That the plural of vertex is vertices, but sometimes you could say vertexes to make it more understandable. And then of course this is a face because it's bordered by the edges. Okay. Oh. So tab to move back to object mode. Okay. Selection modes. In edit mode, the header is at the bottom of the 3D view. Window changes to selection mode controls. If you hover over each of the buttons of the group of three, you'll see they represent vertex select, edge select, and face select respectively. You can shift click to enable more than one at a time. In vertex select mode, you select a single vertex by clicking with the right mouse button to select it more, and to select more than one, shift clicking on additional vertices with the right mouse button, although it's going to be the left mouse button. Shift clicking with the left mouse button on an already selected vertex will deselect it. And you probably already know this, but if you somehow happen to come in late, here, let's go to that. See, this is edges, this is faces, this is vertices. For those of you that might have just like popped in and wondering why you see RMB and I see left mouse button, it's because in 2.8 they changed the default from right mouse button select an object to left mouse button select an object, and you can actually change it back if you want. Anyways, I can select vertices, right, individual, and then I can select with the shift multiple vertices, and it automatically selects the face. And I guess that's useful because if you're doing all four of them, maybe you want the whole face selected. I guess, I don't know, but we do this, we do that, and we shift and we shift and we shift, and then it selects the face. And then if you do face, you can just do face selecting. You do shift that, you can do whoomp, and you can do whoomp, and that, and it's sort of like the way it started out with it. Okay, so okay, let's do something here. Pressing A will select all vertices if none are currently selected. Otherwise, it will unselect all vertices. So, A. And in this case, I'm not sure why they changed it, but you have to double hit A to select. To select all. Okay. Edge select mode works in some way with the edges instead of vertices. Similarly, face select mode will allow you to select and unselect faces. The single mouse. Okay, so yeah, so to select and unselect all, you hit A or you hit A twice. Okay, single button immediately to the right of these three is titled Limit Selection to Visible. When it is active, the default, the mesh object being edited is displayed as opaque, which means that the vertices, edges, or faces on the side away from you are hidden and cannot be selected. Click this button and the object becomes translucent, allowing clicking through front faces to select parts of the mesh behind them. Okay, so do we have a limit select? We don't really have that deal here. We don't have the I mean, it's probably in here, I just don't know where it's at. Collections, visibility, object types, visibility, mesh curve, okay, overlays. Oh, so now if I want to select a point, I can select a point, because now all sides are visible. And there we go. And it looks like. Okay. All right. So here, another useful display mode for working in the 3D view is the wireframe, which can be selected by from the viewport shake menu or toggle with the Z key. In this mode, faces become transparent, almost invisible, and the edges of the vertices are displayed more prominently. Here's what it looks like the various selection and display modes look like in combination. Okay. I let's do Z. Okay, so Z actually pulls up the menu, which is these four deals, and then you can select wireframe, of course. But then, what if I do that? How about weird? Okay, so wireframe where you can't see through it. That's interesting. And wireframe where you can see through it. And see through, not see through, and wireframe, and not to wireframe. So right now we're not seeing through. Okay. All right. So yeah, I will see you in the next video.